Hi my friends, CA here, and this week's book pick is the young adult book, Last Words. The story opens with 16-year-old Claire out for a walk, and she's passing over the Lionsgate Bridge in Vancouver and notices this gentleman talking on the phone, walking in her direction, and he seems very much in good spirit. And then in a split second, he says he's sorry and hands her his phone and jumps to his death off the railing of the bridge. And from that point, Claire's life completely changes. The bulk of the story is Claire sort of trying to come to terms to what just happened and the impact it has on her. She gets a little obsessed with Will. She discovers the gentleman who jumped, trying to really understand why somebody in one moment looked like he had everything, seemed very content, could make this leap. She has a hard time coming to terms with it. She also has a hard time talking about it. She doesn't actually want to talk about it. She doesn't want to talk about it with her friends, with her family, and she really is trying to hold it together, and it starts to impact on her relationships with her boyfriend, her relationships with her family. Through interactions with a number of characters, she starts to evaluate a little more why this is impacting her. So all these people in her life and how they interact with life and how they look for the future and have sort of a positive outlook, and she's struggling with understanding Will, but also, like most people her age, is also struggling, and she admits through a diary that she too has struggled with this feeling that what's the point in being here. And I think that's why what Will has done sticks with her so much, because while she's toyed with the idea of ending her life and what's the point of being here, Will has been to the point where he has done it. And so she's trying to understand, like, what's that line? Here's Will, who has everything and just felt like he had no reason to go on, compared to Kiki, who is, fighting cancer and is fighting for every day to live, and comparing the two, somebody throwing away their life and the other person fighting for it. A really good read. There's a few things I like about it. For young adults, the whole idea that the world around you is oppressive and sometimes it may just be easier to leave it. And so that being a thought that's gone through Claire's head, and then clearly that was something that pushed Will over the edge. Claire dealing with the struggle, but also it's not until she sort of starts to talk to other people, it helps her to kind of go down a little bit of this recovery. This whole awful moment has caused her to almost reaffirm to herself that while she has felt this way, and she probably will have these feelings again, that there is so much more for her and she will continue to try. I do like that the book also doesn't wrap things up completely. You don't have you start with a tragedy and you work through the tragedy and everything is resolved at the end. I think you're left with Claire still having things that she has to struggle with. Life is messy and not everything is all as clean, cut and dry. I think there's a lot with this story too, how this story goes about. We see Claire coming to terms with Will's death, this death of the stranger that happened right in front of her, how she sort of deals with it, the impact it has on her, the impact this whole scenario has on the people in her life, and how it also opens her up to encounters with new people in her life. But then that's it. There is this unknown extension of the book where, as a reader, you can imagine there's all these twists and turns and different paths that could happen from the book. And so I do like that the story ends that way. It is a little bit of this slice of life tied to a moment that I think many young adults struggle with. Claire sort of exploring that forced to explore that a little more because of this stranger. It's not a depressing story. I mean, the subject matter is a little sad in what happened and what Claire's going through, but I think how it's been treated is more of a sense of like, I get feeling that way, and you're right, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be upset. It is a way to breathe through and help to look at those thoughts through Claire's eyes and maybe have a different perspective. Or you yourself may not be feeling this way, but know that there are people around you who could be, and so it can put you in a different perspective to better empathize or understand what other people may be going through. I don't know if it's the short chapters or the word count. It actually was a fairly quick read. A little more information on the book in the description below should you be interested in adding this to your personal collection. On Wednesdays, you can find me here talking about books for kids with a little bit of a geek twist. If you like this content, like to see more content like it, be sure to give it a little thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon to be notified as more content like this is published. And until next time, one to beam out.